Two, one. Hello and welcome to the Morningscape podcast. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell to cover the Metropolitan Division of our four-part NHL preview series. How you doing, DJ?
I'm doing good. Just I don't know, relaxing Sunday night after watching my Browns absolutely get murdered by the Bengals, and I hate them. I just hate football, and I'm ready for hockey to come back. So glad we're here talking about the Metro. Two more,
Oh,
well,
oh,
one of our last two podcasts. Is Doug here?
you're trying to change the topic from football. I mean,
Oh
talk
my
about
God.
Western New York today.
Yeah.
Beating
So
the
I live with.
undefeated Atlanta Falcons. I mean, it's a good time.
Did you see the video of Shady McCoy in the locker room?
No, what did
Like
he do?
basically there were like reporters in there. Like they're like, he's like, oh, why are you guys coming in to talk to the winners? You guys finally coming in to talk to the winners? Oh, he's like, it's so funny. So yeah, I'm definitely joining Bills Mafia for the rest of the year. The Browns are just
Awesome.
dead and done, and I hate them and they hate me.
Well,
So
DJ, you get ready for double disappointment this season.
yep, that's how I'm feeling.
And yeah, just a note, Doug should be joining us momentarily. Just a couple issues he has to clear up, and so he will come here in the nick of time, in the interest of time, because we use him as our moderator for the top 10 series. You know, when we go over the top 10 by fantasy points per game using DraftKings scoring last season, we're going to pick some regression candidates for the Metropolitan Division first, just as I guess, a refresher on how last year went in the Metro. The Capitals won the President's Trophy of 118 points. Penguins, Stanley Cup winner, 111. Columbus, Rangers, both above 100 points. And then the Islanders just missed out on the playoffs, followed by the Flyers, who ended up with the first overall pick, the Carolina Hurricanes, and New Jersey Devils. So I'll throw this over to you first, DJ. Do any names kind of jump out at you from that roster of teams like that you think are going to have a great year?
I mean, there's a lot of players that jumped out at us. I mean, I would say that one player in particular, though, I think that the New York Islanders are a bit underrated, and I think John Tavares, after having somewhat of a disappointing last year, finally has a winger on his line that can really help him produce and maybe have even a better year. I know our expected goals models had him as having 35 goals, but only had 28. I just feel like overall he's gonna excel. Doug Waite, the new system, everything. I really like the Islanders more than maybe most. And I think him and Epperly are going to be a great duo together. So he's kind of my positive guy. I mean, there's a ton of others I could name off, but I'll just kind of stick to him. I know our model loves him, and Doug always seemed to pick him for a guaranteed goal. He does so much on the ice. So yeah, I like him a
Yeah,
lot.
I mean, I think it's important to note that our model would be the Corsica expected goals. And yeah, just to note, we haven't had Corsica all summer. But if you guys are new to like the hockey stats sort of thing and have never heard of it, Corsica.hockey is like the greatest stats website you will find for the NHL. It's so well put together. So be sure to check out that website. It's I mean, the second version of it is even better than the first, which is downright impressive. That's where all of my data really comes from, especially, you know, last year I used it for everything, and this year I plan on, you know, the same. Um, so that was released on Saturday. So be sure to check it out and see the new features if you've yet to play around with it. So, all right, do you have maybe a less, I guess, a negative regression guy that you're thinking of?
Yeah, I think that Michael Grabner last year went on kind of a run that drove his price up almost to, I think, 6K on DraftKings at one point. And I mean, I was looking over kind of some of his metrics, and his shooting percentage was way too high. It was about 17%. That means like 17% of his shots went in the back of the net, which is really unsustainable. I just think he's going to be
Unless you get a
disappointing.
breakaway every game.
Well, that's his thing. Is his speed. Sometimes he can create those breakaways. So maybe for him, his shooting percentage will always be a little bit high. But I don't think he's going to have a 27 goal season like he did last year. And he really doesn't do much for you as far as assists. So he's kind of boomer bust every night, GPP only kind of guy. I don't know. I just don't see it from him.
Well, I mean, I don't even think he's a GPP type of guy. He plays on the third line, no power play time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a nice story and all, but like when it comes to DFS, you're better off just spending your money elsewhere. Essentially, is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the I don't think I'm totally like on board with the Carolina's going to be like awesome this year, but I think they'll be a good team. But one player that I think is going to be simply outstanding this year is Elias Lindholm. He was a former 5th overall pick, I think 2013 or 2014. So he has some outstanding pedigree. But if you looked at his numbers from last year, you probably wouldn't, notice how impressive he was. So just to note, of all the players who played at least half the season last year, Elias Lindholm had the 6th highest primary assist rate of anyone in the league. Now, primary assist rate is different from just overall assists because it only counts first assists. And it's been statistically shown that secondary assists are relatively random. And he got completely screwed over by those last year. His on-ice shooting percentage was dismal. And it goes to show that his secondary assist rate was less than half of that of the guys around him, being, McDavid, Malkin. So, there's certainly some reason that you could say maybe, you could expect him to have a lower assist rate than those guys, but not as low. And given the randomness of it, I think he's in line for a huge assist year. And then he also got really unlucky shooting the puck. When you take individual expected goals minus the goals they actually scored, he ranks in the top 10 there too. So if you think Carolina's going to be a good team, Elias Lindholm should be an incredible player this year when you consider that he was putting up decent numbers on a decent team last year. And if he's on a good team, he should put up even better numbers given his underlying metrics. So I think that was really my main takeaway from kind of doing some prep for this season. DJ, do you have any thoughts on Carolina as a whole or just Lindholm?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they did themselves a lot of favors in the offseason. They have Scott Darling now in net. I think that's really going to help boost their back end. Their defense is really one of the best in the NHL, in my opinion. But we'll get into all that more later. But I just feel like overall this team has a lot of players that are a bit under the radar, like Elias Lindholm. People might know about him. He was a really cheap center option a lot and definitely performed well. But yeah, I think he is a great candidate for a huge year and more fantasy relevance. But do you have anyone for a negative regression now?
That's a great question. I thought I did, but
you did. It was
I
Boone
didn't write
Jenner.
him down, DJ. So
It was Boone Jenner.
that's right. Well, it wasn't. I don't think that was just an idea I had, but I don't actually think I was too invested in that.
Well, you're just in such a happy mood for the Bills
right.
one that you just don't want to be negative. I get that.
All right. For me, Alex Wennberg, I don't think he's a bad player, but he was being played way too much last year. And when you look at his numbers versus someone like Joe Thornton, like they're virtually inseparable. So Alex Wennberg is a complete pass first player, and he had a very nice year last year. But one, the power play is not going to be as good as it was last year because that's literally impossible. Two, if you don't shoot, you don't really have a floor to build off of. And three, I'm not sure we know how this power play is going to run just yet. I would assume he'll be on the first unit like he was last year. But when they shipped away Saad and brought in Panarin, that's really another offensive mouth to feed. And I'm not sure how that's going to work when it comes to their power play structure. So I think Wennberg's definitely a cautionary tale for me, especially if he's up in, the 5-6K range at centers. I think you can get much better values other than him, just given his complete lack of a floor.
Yeah, no, I'm totally down for that. Yeah, no, I just completely agree. So why don't we? Did I hear Doug or no? I don't think I did.
No,
he's not here yet. So we can wait for him. Maybe get back to if he has anyone in mind when he gets on. But do you just want to move right into the team by team breakdowns?
Yeah, that's fine.
and then we'll do the top 10. Okay, so the first team up, Carolina Hurricanes, as we already mentioned, we're like pretty bullish on them. Some of their main offseason moves, like I think I pretty much mentioned the major ones. They also picked up Trevor Van Riemsdyk and Justin Williams, brought him back from the the Stanley Cup team. So, Matt, I'll just kick it to you. What do you think about this team? Is there any names that maybe we don't know of yet that we should get in our heads now?
Um, well, I mean, I think the main move they made this year was acquiring a living, breathing goalie in Scott
Hmm.
Darling. So, it remains to be seen whether he's going to be that difference maker that they've so sorely lacked for. Get it lacked because Eddie
Ah,
Lack. Um, but I mean, Cam Ward literally had one miraculous run in net, and that was 11 years ago, as any Sabres fan might be able to tell you.
hmm.
And since then he's been well below league average. So I think even if Scott Darling can be like a replacement or an above replacement level goalie, like not even an NHL starter caliber, but just like a good goalie, um, they should be, that much better. And in addition, they have, like you said, they have a ton of young names that I think last year showed a lot of potential. Um, but guys like Teravainen, I mean, Jeff Skinner isn't even all that old. He's what, 24? Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy when you think how long he's been around. But they have a really nice crop of guys coming up all at the same time. Justin Falk should be their, typical number one power play for or defenseman. And
Hmm.
then Jacob Slavin last year broke out as like basically a Hampus Lindholm, but in the Eastern Conference. So as far as younger guys go, Noah Hannafin's the guy that I think he's a bit of a wild card, given that Justin Falk is really kind of blocking him in terms of number one power play defenseman. But he is just really good, man. So, um, do you have any younger prospects in mind that you think can make the leap? Because I think most of their team is already in place from last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, the seventh overall pick from 2014 is Hayden Fleury, who looks like he's going to make the team. And then Jake Bean was the 13th overall pick from 2016. Both defensemen, both still on the team as of now. What?
What? They have two more defensemen coming?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, one like that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, one of them being 21 years old, Hayden Fleury, and the other one, I think, 19
Oh,
and
yeah.
maybe just turned 20-year-old Jake Bean. So those are really young guys that are both on the team. I don't know how many
Yeah.
minutes they'll get. I don't know if they'll both stick or what, but those are both top end prospects that played really well in World Juniors and kind of have all the credentials to step right in. So, like I'm saying, this defensive core is kind of young, but it is really, really good. I mean, Justin Falk isn't even that old. He's what, maybe 25, 26? It's like
I want to
that
say
asks
he's
people to,
27 or 28.
you know what? I'll just look. I don't know why I'm guessing. He is 25,
Okay.
25 years old, 26 in
Interesting.
March. So again, like that's like the oldest. Well, he's not the oldest. He's the second oldest guy. Trevor Van Riemsdyk's got a year on him, but like they're very young on the back end, but very, very talented and very fast. And this offense, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people. I'm just a huge fan of what they've done. Um, yeah, I don't really know if they have like they just have a lot of DFS relevant guys every night because they're such a fast, fun team. If
Yeah,
that
I
makes
mean,
sense.
for them, it really does come down to their goaltending. If Scott Darling, he showed flashes of being a starter level goalie in relief for Crawford a few times in Chicago. And if he can continue that for a full season, they're going to be in very good shape. So it's tough given how difficult the top end of this division will be to crack. But, you know, heaven forbid something happened, a Crosby or maybe not quite Ovechkin since, Baxter. But, like, if anyone significant gets hurt and some teams falter, Carolina could be the team poised to jump into the playoff picture. Uh, and I think the main team that people are expecting to kind of regress in that manner are the next team we're going to cover, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Um, their main trade this year was trading away Brandon Saad in return for Artemi Panarin. That's going to play out for them. I mean, they didn't really use Saad effectively, so do you think this is like a net positive for them? Or, do you think that Saad's two-way game is going to be sorely missed?
It really is hard to tell. I memean, I don't know. I think Panarin, pound for pound, is the better player. I think he has a more unique skill set. But Brendan Saad, like a lot of the intangibles that maybe don't show up on the score sheet, but do show up in a lot of advanced analytic metrics, show how talented he is at being kind of a shutdown guy. So I don't know. I think they end up winning this trade by getting Panarin. I think he's really going to help their offense and probably slot in on that first power play unit, which was just absolutely incredible. So yeah, I think it's net positive just overall.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I mean, it's being underutilized under Tortorella. Like, I don't think that would have changed this year. And so turning him into a bona fide like first line player in Panarin, I think is an awesome move for them. And I am pretty thrilled to see, what he can do with that power play that last year, even though they really cooled off in the second half, was still one of the league's best. We certainly have the young talent coming up that should be able to sustain the success they showed last year. I mean, do you want to talk about some of the other transactions they made before we dive on into the prospects, or how do you want to talk about
they lost Hartnell, they lost Sam Gagner, they lost David Clarkson, the big one really there. They lost like the worst contract in the NHL, so that helps. But I mean, yeah, it really goes into a huge offseason for them. I think what they lost in Hartnell and whatnot are going to be more than made up for with the additions of some of the younger guys. Pierre-Luc Dubois, the third overall pick in the 2016 draft. I'm assuming he's going to make the team. Oliver Bjorkstrand will be there full time. Everyone knows we love Oliver Bjorkstrand. And then on the point, I don't think there's anyone major new there. None of them seem, but then again, they're all getting a year older, a year wiser. Guys like Ryan Murray, Seth Jones, and Zach Werenski are going to just get a little bit better. So, no, I think they're set up very nicely. And then, I mean, in that, Sergei Bobrovsky is one of the best goalies in the world. So, yeah, I really like this team a lot. Oh, and Sonny Milano, too.
Sonny Milano, I was going to mention him. They managed to hold on to Korpisalo, right?
Yes.
Because I knew there was talk that he would be lost to Vegas, but that ended up not coming to pass. So
magic work.
I mean, so I think they have a lot, going for them. I personally really don't think they'll fall off all that much, just because I think Bobrovsky is such a game changer that if he's even when Bobrovsky's on the case. They're going to be in safe hands. So this is where Doug could really come in.
I know. I can't believe he's not on yet.
Missing him.
He said 10 minutes, like 25 minutes.
It's a shame.
Yeah, other than that, though, I mean, there's some other names on their roster currently that I don't know if they're going to make it or not. I know the one guy, Marcus Hanakalainen. I know I think that's how you say his name. He was doing real well for them in the preseason so far, but yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I think I'm pretty much content to move on to the Devils.
Who was the guy who came up for the playoffs last year? Was that It wasn't Hanakalainen, I don't think.
Hanakalainen did not play in the playoffs.
Was it Harrington?
Well, Hanakalainen's a forward, so.
Okay.
No, the Nidavara?
No.
He played in the playoffs.
Oh, Gabriel Carlson. That's who it is.
Oh, the young guy? He was really young.
Yeah, Carlson's going to be I don't think he'll be, DFS relevant unless there's a couple injuries. But, I mean, he's just another addition to what should be a relatively strong team. And like you said, he's super young. They have really high hopes for him, though. He excelled over in Europe last year. So
Sweden.
The old Sweden boy.
Yeah.
So
okay, to the Devils.
Pretty much, the Nico Hischier, Taylor Hall stack.
Yeah.
Is that going to come to pass?
I really do wonder what this roster, like the lines are going to look like. They're definitely going to change. There's definitely a lot more hope in New Jersey than last year, where last year it was kind of like, well, they're going to be one of the worst teams, and they were, and then they get the first overall pick, and Nico Hischier looks like an absolute beast. He looks like he's definitely going to make the team. Taylor Hall is an absolute beast, and they have a lot of other younger guys that I really like. I mean, Miles Wood was a lot of fun to watch. ton of speed in that kid. On the point, they got Will Butcher, the top college free agent to come out this year. And, I mean, who knows? I guess right off the bat, a lot of people had high hopes for Jimmy Vesey, and that didn't exactly work out in year one. But, you never do know. I'd say overall their offseason was very net positive over being negative. The only loss was Camilleri, and they picked up Marcus Johansson and whatnot. So, yeah, they definitely are in a better spot this year.
Matt, I mean, you mentioned how VC, I think you could view him as a disappointment from a DFS standpoint. But I think overall, like in real life terms, he was fine. And what's really interesting about Will Butcher is that Jimmy Vesey was walking into a pretty much loaded Rangers top 9. So like every minute he got, he really had to earn. And I mean, Will Butcher, if he was looking for a team to get in on the ground floor with, he picked the right one. I mean, their power play 1 quarterback is Damon Severson. So right off the bat, that's that's certainly attainable. But I mean, Andy Green is like their number 1 defenseman.
He is.
John Moore, Ben Lovejoy, like Santini. Like if anyone knew who Steven Santini was on this date last year, like.
Well, one of my best friends at college played against him in high school. So. So what? I know one person.
Tell him to get.
I'll call him up and tell him to go get a life. No, this team is just much improved. And then they also picked up Mirko Mueller. That was kind of in a trade before the expansion draft because the Sharks wanted to get something for one of their top prospects rather than getting nothing. So who knows exactly what he'll do, but he was the 18th overall pick in the 2013 draft, and he still hasn't made the jump yet. So
he really fell off.
Offensive-minded guy.
He fell off the prospect watchers list, and even when he got called up last year, he didn't really do anything. They just simply didn't let him play like a full allotment of minutes. So it's kind of similar case to Will Butcher. Like, there is an opportunity if he's, the sort of player that he had the talent to be, at least in 2013. But it really remains to be seen whether he makes the most of that opportunity. But certainly not to keep an eye on. So I think there's an obligatory Taylor Hall mention here. I mean, the dude is just like one of the most impactful forwards in the NHL. It's a shame that he's really had to do it on 2 of the worst teams in the league with the early 2010s Oilers and now the Devils. But I think, with some of the young guys they have here, it should be really exciting to see how he can help them just, in general on ice terms. So anyone who plays with Taylor Hall is automatically a DFS option in my mind.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said before, I don't think we exactly know what the Lions look like. Actually, I'll kind of look at Daily Faceoff as anything quick, but
yeah, Daily Faceoff has
to change.
Yeah, Zajac is hurt right now. Otherwise, I'm sure it would be Zajac, Palmieri, Hall, like it was for the majority of last year.
They have Zaka there now.
Right.
So I guess that's what to look out for. Line 2 is Johansson, Hischier, and Drew Stafford. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, no, I do think they're improved, and that they'll still improve doesn't mean that they're going to get out of the basement of the division, but improved nonetheless.
And yeah,
to the Islanders.
Another team that really improved last year was the New York Islanders. I don't think people really noticed this in their kind of season ending with all the drama around the Lightning and the Leafs and everything else that went on in the NHL. I think it kind of flew under the radar how good the Islanders were.
I know. I did not mean to do that. Me? No, when I was gonna text Doug, and I accidentally clicked on FaceTime. I was like, "Oops!" and I clicked on that. Okay, continue.
Very, very professional.
I really just wanted to talk to you in more than one media outlet. Like I needed phone and podcasting.
As someone who loves myself, I totally understand.
Perfect.
So, anyways, the Islanders, they fired their coach like in the season, and in their last 50 games, the Islanders had a 65% points percentage, meaning they acquired, basically, I think they acquired 53 points in 41 games, or something similar to that. So it was right around the halfway mark. But in the second half, they were one of the best teams in the league. If they had kept that pace up for an entire season, that's good for sixth in the entire NHL last year. And so, it's a relatively small sample, yada yada. But like this team got much better. You mentioned earlier Tavares and Eberle. I mean, that's really Johnny T's like first legitimate, sniper. Anders Lee, he's a good player and everything, but I don't think he's the same level of offensively talented that Eberle is. So I'm really excited to see what they can bring to the table. Any other? I mean, they have a ton of young guys. So do you want to talk about some of those guys?
I mean, the greatest number 66 ever to play the game, Joshua Ho-Sang. He came in last year and kind of broke into the DFS community. And I know we were day one truthers on Ho-Sang, and I definitely think that, he'll get the full year this year in New York. Matthew Barzal, another one of their top prospects. It was a guy that was considered to be a top draft pick in 2015. He slipped the pick 16, and I think this is the year he makes the jump. I don't know how DFS relevant he'll be off the bat, but definitely someone to keep an eye on. Who else? Well, I mean, I can't even say the defenseman's name. I just got to give it to you. Your Golden Boys on the point. He might make the team. What do you think about Ryan Pulock?
I'm skeptical to believe that they're going to actually give him the spot that he deserves. But I did see a tweet from a Islanders beat writer the other day. In practice, Pulock missed the net with a slap shot, completely disintegrated the glass behind the net. So that was really fun to see.
This is vaporized.
I said this exact. Yeah, he has one of the best shots in the NHL if he were to make the NHL. And I truly believe that if he were if he were to make the Islanders roster, he would be their best bet for the power play one defense job as well. Because, I'll say it again when he actually makes the team, but with Tavares being a lefty, he likes to set up at the right point. And every time he passes it to Nick Leddy, who is also a lefty, has to catch it and then turn his whole body and shoot. Like, he can't one-time it with Tavares. And so with Ryan Pulock's amazing shot and Tavares' his amazing shot and incredible playmaking ability, that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Now, let's see if it actually happens, but I'm really excited about Pulock as a DFS defenseman, and I think that he's better than Adam Pelech and whoever. I think Seidenberg's their number 6 guy right now.
Probably.
Give me a break.
The corpse of Dennis Seidenberg.
Give me a break, Islanders. Give the man a job.
Dennis Seidenberg, who is 36 years of age, and I think, nope, he's 36. He's 36 in July. Yeah, 30. So, yeah, they're a great team. I really like their defense a lot. I think Tahan, Boychuk, Hickey, and hopefully Pulock will man the point well for them. Do we have anyone else of note here? Any other offseason moves? Just kind of that they lost Travis Hamonic and Brian Strome, picked up Eberle. Yeah. Is it time to move on to the Rangers?
Yeah, I don't really think there's much else to say, but if I were to pick a team from this division who didn't make the playoffs to make the playoffs, I think I would actually pick the Islanders over the Hurricanes.
Hot takes. So. Hot takes coming in hot. Okay, well, we'll get to that when we get to my rankings. So now the New York Rangers, I don't even know how to describe this team. It's like the same team, a little bit different. Obviously, the big acquisition was Kevin Shattenkirk. And Anthony DeAngelo, I think, is another name worth noting. But last year, everyone, I think, would agree that their defense was just their downfall. The reason why they aren't going to make that next step. So I guess I'll just throw it to you right off the bat. What do you think of this team? And do you have hopes for them, again, to continue to make the playoffs?
Do the New York Rangers employ Dan Girardi?
Nope.
Okay, so I think that's a net upgrade for them. DeAngelo is someone who I really like as a prospect. It remains to be seen whether he makes this team or not. But, I mean, they went out and they added the big fish this offseason in Shattenkirk. So, it's tough for me to say that, I think they're a lock to make the playoffs because I think a whole lot had to go right for them last year. But at the same time, they were relatively breezed into the playoffs. It wasn't really that much of a struggle for them. And so long as King Henrik hasn't fallen off his throne, I think they're in a good spot.
Yeah, no, I really like this team. I feel like there's not a whole bunch to talk about here. I mean, overall from last year. And, Shattenkirk is a great addition. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's like they needed someone to go with McDonough to help, McDonough couldn't do it all on his own. They also do lose Antti Ranta and pick up Andre Pelvic for their backup goalie. So again, but it's really just kind of the same old team. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, the loss of Stepan is definitely
the big loss. Yeah.
I mentioned with VC, I kind of hinted at it. I think they do have a really deep top nine, and yeah, you losing your number one center does. But it wasn't really like Stepan was out there playing 22 minutes a night like some other teams' number one centers would be. So I don't think it'll be that ridiculous to think that Zibanejad. Do you know who this Philip Scheitel guy is that they have inserted into their lineup?
No, he was their second first round pick, their actual first round pick, this year. Because they traded for Arizona's.
Okay, so
he's their first round pick, 21st overall this year.
Was he actually going to make the team then? That's interesting.
I don't think so. I don't know. Let me look into it. I am assuming he is going to go back to the OHL, WHL, or whatever. I don't know where he plays though, I guess. So.
Okay, he came from the Czech Extraliga, so it means he made the team out of camp, and it means if they don't like him, they can send him to the AHL. So it's not really like he's going to go to an OHL team unless there's something. Okay. Yeah. Unless there's something really crazy going on behind the scenes. That's pretty interesting. I noticed some extra noise back here. Do we have Doug Beebe joining us?
Oh, boy.
Back by popular demand. My parents have so much to say. I kid you not, I actually dropped the link to the Morningscape Pod website in the Skype chat during our talk so that they would go and check it out.
Ooh.
Shameless promotion.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. Yep, I mean, it is the best website for a strictly DFS NHL podcast in the world.
I have heard similar praise.
Yes.
So you guys are talking about the Rangers right now?
Yeah, we didn't do the top 10 thing yet. So why don't we do the Rangers and then go back and do that? We'll take a kind of a halftime.
I was going to say my pick for my regression that I came in with plays on the Rangers. So.
Ooh. Well, hit us with it.
Do tell.
Matt Zuccarello. Did we already talk? Did we talk about him at all?
No one has. No.
All right. So last year, his even strength shooting percentage was 5%. The year before that, 15%. He's shooting exactly the same Corsi, and he actually had more individual expected goals for last year than the year before, even with a shooting percentage 3 times as low. So that sounds like bad luck to me, shooting 5%, even though you're shooting more often and getting more expected goals than you did the year before. So I like him as a good pick for positive regression.
The Norwegian, you say?
I can really see Zuccarello. I don't think he's as heralded as Johnny Gaudreau, but they are pretty much the same player. And I think Zuccarello actually has a bigger impact when he's on the ice.
And the same size.
I mean, yes, that is the obvious comparison, that they're the same size. But when you look at Zuccarello's relative stats, expected goals, Corsi, he's generally a possession driver for this team. And that's borne out over the past few years now. And, with such a low shooting percentage, I mean, he had 7 goals at 5-on-5 last year. That just doesn't seem right. I mean, he can legitimately turn 5 guys into a pretzel. He's so talented. He gets to the dirty areas. So I think he's going to be in for a solid year. So good call, Doug. You're coming in for the hot fire.
He had 7 less points than his salary expected based on the data that I had, too. So he was underperforming last year for sure, and it was evident in his DraftKings points. So yeah, no, I'm expecting at least bigger things from him next year. But
it was reflective in his DraftKings salary as well. I know.
But
in the playoffs.
Can I tell you how much nicer it was to be able to fact check that by going to Corsica instead of having to literally look up his stats one at a time to make sure that they were right? Oh my God, I put it in Corsica, put the 2 seasons in, said don't aggregate all the data, and I just looked at 2 lines that were him last year and him the year before that, and I was like, I'm home. Everything is perfect.
I mentioned Corsica at the top of the show. Like, it's just such a great resource. Like, I cannot stress enough how great it is.
I'm literally so excited to see the models compete to see who's a better predictor of games. I think that's going to be such a neat little tidbit for the.
Yeah, TJ, did you happen to notice that on Corsica? I don't even know if you've been to the site yet.
I haven't even been to the site since it came back.
Yeah,
I know because I went. The last time I went to it, I think it was down again, and then it came back up.
Yeah, but essentially
it's up now. The predicted point. Wait, which one are you talking about? Because it kind of looks like HockeyViz a little bit now.
Well, so what he did is he actually has 20 different models. So like he has Micah's model called Edgar. He has his own model that I think he named like Salad because of if you follow Manny on Twitter, you'll get why he calls it Salad. But then he has like 18 other models along with it, and then every day he's gonna like basically it's gonna be updated to say like what the models think are gonna happen in terms of like score, who's gonna win, and it's all gonna be averaged. It's all going to be tracked. Like that's going to be really, really cool to see.
And he has like a I'm assuming he's using log loss like he did in his thing, but to show which teams or which models are projecting the best or like are predicting the best using an all or nothing. Did you get it right or did you get it wrong? Kind of scale. But over a big period of games, it'll be telling, but I think it'll just kind of be neat more than anything to see. And he's also providing a model which is just the aggregate of all the models too, which I think is even cooler. Like
super model?
Yeah, super model. That shows like the average projection for win percentage and stuff, which I think will be really cool for like even DFS stuff, like seeing what the models think.
Yeah. Okay, models. So brief Corsica interlude aside. Doug, do you have the top 10 fantasy points per game last year?
I do.
Okay.
And I already have them sorted as well. So
perfect.
We can.
I did want to point out last show, I made a grave mistake. I am an idiot and did not. So remember when I said, there are no defensemen on this list? It's because when I filtered it, I filtered out defensemen. So I just wanted to add that Roman Josi and Dustin Byfuglien were in the top 10 of Central Division point scorers on a per game basis, and they edged out Jonathan Toews and Artemi Panarin, I believe. So
wait, didn't I post it in the Google Doc? I posted it before I said I couldn't.
I didn't want to look at it.
Way to go!
Yeah, I didn't want to look at it either because I was guessing. So
yeah, I didn't want to spoil the surprise.
It was my last second thing to add it in there. I could have saved you the embarrassment. Well, I will tell you that there are no defensemen in the top 10 in the Metro.
Did you filter out defensemen by chance?
No. The number 1 defenseman, John Carlson, is 16.
I would have thought Falk would have been number 1.
15. He is the next person, 16.
Wow.
They are 0.01 points per game apart.
Wow.
Falk actually scored more fantasy points over the whole season than Carlson did, but Carlson played 3 less games.
All right, Matt, do you want the first stab at it?
I'll go with Mr. Alex Ovechkin.
He is number 3 at 4.17 points per game.
I'll go with Sidney Crosby.
He is number 1 at 4.8. 7 points, 7.7 points per game more than Ovechkin.
Okay.
Yeah. You have 1 and 3.
Okay.
Now you have 2. He's a little below Crosby, but 4.6.
All right. Taylor Hall.
He is 6.
Yay.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, John Tavares, your boy.
Yes, he is. He is 5. Oh, sorry, Hall. Yeah, 5. Sorry, I thought I was reading them in the wrong order.
Nicholas Backstrom.
He is 10.
Ooh.
Oh,
No misses so far.
you are so lucky.
That's not a bad guess, though. You can't get mad.
Man, no, you're right. So does Jake Gensel cut the games played mark?
He did. Wait, how many games did he play?
I'm not actually sure. I was just.
He's not in my top 10.
Let me say Wayne Simmons.
Yeah, he's not even on the list, so he must not have made the. No, he is 13.
Wow, really? Okay.
That's shocking.
Alright, I lose.
Yeah, no, you lose. Oh man.
There were no Flyers in the top 10.
Well, that changes my next guess. No, I was like thinking about it, and I was like,
after Simmons, he was 14.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Claude Giroux, and I'm like, I can't imagine Claude Giroux had more points than Simmons. All right, how about Zuccarello?
Nope, he was
He had like
20 plus.
the Phil Kessel.
Yeah. Nope, he was 12.
So wait, what?
What is this list?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
all right, you know what? You know what we haven't done yet is do one Columbus Blue Jackets.
So I guess
in a
I will say that only 2 people in the top 10 in points per game played full 82 game seasons. One person played, 3 people out of the top 10 played full 82 game seasons.
Cam Atkinson.
Yes, he is 7.
Good.
TJ Oshie.
No, he was 11.
Are you?
Oh. Matt, you are so bad at this. Oh my god.
You're
Okay.
missing 4,
What?
4, 8, and 9.
Jeff Skinner.
Jeff Skinner.
Oh,
Yeah, he's 4.
yeah. Oh, I didn't know it was your turn, Matt. I'm sorry.
No, I mean I'm just so mad at this point. I can't believe that I've gotten 3 wrong in a row.
You want to try to redeem yourself?
All right, Matt. Yeah, you get a shot. There's 2 people left. One only. Oh no, I won't say. I said the games played last time, and that was a dead giveaway.
Because I was looking at the player.
I'll
I
just
don't
not
look up the
say.
stats like DJ does.
DJ, might as well just look up the fantasy points. But one of them played significantly less than 82 games and still made the top 10 points per game. So that's as much as I'll give you. Neither are defensemen. We've already said that. I have another hint, but it's definitely going to give it away. Both of them away.
I mean, Mika Zibanejad, I doubt it, but
No, he's even lower
yeah,
than.
I didn't think so. Okay.
I don't even know.
If I had a nickel for every
Time you
man,
set a player.
Aho?
Nope, not even top 20. Yeah, like 40.
Like running out of
Kuznetsov?
players.
Nope.
No,
So
no way.
you-
He's not even that
So
close.
this team makes up 4 of the spots in the top 10, and 2 of them you have, and both of them are on the team that you haven't, or like, what I'm trying to say is they're on the same team. 8 and 9 are on the same team, and it's a team you've already said twice.
Is it Hornqvist?
Correct. He is a
Wow, really? Okay.
3.5.
Fourth line Hornqvist.
Well, you said no defenseman, so I can't say Letang.
And it's no Kessel either.
And it's not Gensel.
He only played 61 games.
It's got to be Sheary, right?
Yes, it is. Connor Sheary, number 9, 3.58 points per game.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
This is a stupid list. I hate your list.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me-
No, but that does make sense. Connor Shearer was super hot for a little while in the year. All right, so the next
I will
team.
say,
Oh,
I will
sorry.
say, I'll give some honorable mention. Wayne Simmons and Voracek both would have made the list if we were doing in terms of total points scored instead of points per game. So, a little bit of vindication. You did see them score more fantasy points than some of those other people on the list. So,
Well, the
that-
more you know.
that's all I can give
Are
you.
we ready for the Philadelphia Flyers, though?
I'm ready.
Okay, so Philadelphia Flyers, the big trade. They do get they got Yori Lathera, or Latera. Is it Latera or Lathera?
Yeah, it's
Latera.
Latera.
Because it's like H and then T.
Right.
Latera. Yeah. Jory Latera. Got Nolan Patrick, second overall in the draft. And I'm not positive he will start in net for them, but they have Brian Elliott now as well. But I think what really this team is make or break is on the point. They do have conceivably 3 pretty good offensive-minded defensemen in Gostisbehere, Samuel.
Oh, we lost DJ. DJ?
Yeah. Did I get lost?
Yeah, we totally lost you.
Oh, we
let me
lost
just
him.
interject. Let me just say, can you confirm Samuel Morin is an offensive type player? I thought he was like a monster, like a Brandon Carlo type.
Really? Why did I think he was offensive type? That's what I said. Is that not
Because they have
accurate?
Yeah, I mean they have a ton of good young defensive prospects, but I don't think.
Why did I think he had like? I thought he had like a monster shot.
I mean, he might. Like Brandon Carlo has a monster shot too, but it's not like Zdeno Chara-ish kind of.
All right. Well, let's look. Samuel Morin. He played last year in the AHL. He had 3 goals and 13 assists in 74 games. All right. He might be more defensive minded. I am sorry.
Liar.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to point that out before people saw, oh, wow. I'm not even sure, honestly, if he's going to make the team, but I just thought it was.
Oh, he'll make the team. Go on.
Well, this is the same team that healthy scratched Shane Gostisbehere. So,
yes. I didn't say they were a smart team. I'm just saying he's
shot
going to make
2% last year. Gostisbehere did. That's crazy.
Can you say positive regression candidate?
Yeah. I usually rule out defensemen just because it's tough because their shooting percentage are so low to begin with. But 2% for Gostisbehere is crazy.
Yeah, no, I get that. But I don't know. I feel like this team definitely improved. There's some young guys that are going to come in. German. I said it to you before the podcast. German Rubistov is another like really good kind of.
I mean, it's probably Herman or.
So I make the figure everything, but this team is it's not German. It's a soft G. It's like German.
So it's probably Herman then.
A soft G. It's German. Like uses a hard G right after.
Wait. Oh my god. No.
It's a silent P. Pterodactyl.
I want to go to bed, dude. I'm so overtired. You're right. I meant like it's not like a J. It's like a G. I don't know. You're right. That's not soft. But I don't even know what to call it. It's like the other G. You know what I mean? What would I call that? I don't know.
And this has been Linguistics with DJ.
Yeah. Write in and tell us what you think it should be pronounced in the next episode.
No, I listened to the video when he got drafted. Unless if Hextall went up there and said his name wrong, which could have happened.
Which he could have, to be honest.
You know what? On second thought, I have no idea what his name is.
Just call him G-Dog.
Yep.
The moral of this story is, no, I was gonna try to kick it to one of you guys to talk about the Flyers, and I was trying to do that, and then I got made fun of.
You never really
made a point.
You never really finished your point about whatever his name is.
Whatever his name is.
Right. I'm not going to try and say it.
No, I just don't know like if he'll make the team or not. But like he is kind of a prototypical sniper of sorts, and played really well in the KHL, or at least in the World Juniors, from what I remember. So, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of what that kid does.
Cool.
He's 19 years old. Might make the team. Keep an eye out.
Yeah, I think another guy to keep an eye out for is Taylor Lear. Lear could be something like that.
I think it's Lear, but
yeah. He is presumably going to be in the top 9 for the Flyers this year. Has a pretty decent offensive profile. Looking back at his AHL production, shouldn't be anything special, but you might see, you might see him playing with someone like Giroux or, I mean, even guys with Nolan Patrick. That should be pretty fun. So, just some names to keep an eye on, who may be under the radar to begin. I think I do want to say that I was decidedly Team Nolan Patrick before the draft. I don't, but certainly now I don't really claim to be the best source of prospect information. But I just thought it was weird that Nolan Patrick find #1 pick, and then he goes out and gets a sports hernia. Like, is that his fault? Like, do you really think that portends like future injuries for him? I certainly don't think so.
No.
And when he did play, he was relatively productive. So I think even when you should expect the #2 overall pick is going to be phenomenal, like I think that he's going to be something special. So early on.
Yeah, he's predicted to make the opening night roster as well. So there's a lot of hope, I feel like, in Philly, but I don't think I have them as pegged in as a playoff team by any means. I just feel like they're, other than their kind of top 3 defensemen, Andrew McDonald's a joke. Radko Gudas is serviceable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't see it from them kind of in net and on the point being, I like Samuel Morin, and Ivan Provorov is a really, really, really good talent. So, but then again, I just don't see this team making the leap this year. I think they'll be out better. They'll be a good team. They'll be a fun team, a DFS relevant team. But if you're a Flyers fan, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Good.
If you're a Flyers fan, I think it's time to worry about Claude Giroux. I mean, he was simply abysmal last year. Some of it is, relative percentage driven, but like most of it was just like he wasn't really creating offense. And that's really a troublesome sign because he was he was easily one of the 5 best players in the world as of just a few years ago. So, this is kind of a prove it season for me, but I'm staying away until, he goes on some sort of run like he had, in years past.
Yeah, he was the 13th lowest producing player by salary in the whole NHL last year, Claude Giroux.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, look at this team, and a lot of their Travis Konechny was awesome last year at 19 years old. Nolan Patrick, again, he's got this 18 years old. Like, there's a lot of really good young players, but I don't think that's going to lead them to the playoffs this year. But if I was a Philadelphia Flyers fan, I'd have a lot of hope for the future, and it might be a future without Claude Giroux running the team.
Almost certainly.
Okay, so let's now we're down to the last 2 teams in the division. Let's just play a little game here. So, if you're a fan of one of these 2 teams, like, which one would you rather be a fan of going forward, maybe for the next 5 or 6 years, that sort of window? The Pittsburgh Penguins or the Washington Capitals?
You already did the Blue Jackets? Did you talk about Werenski?
We did. I mean, we didn't talk about him enough, maybe. We'll throw it to you for your general overview after this. But I think I'd pick the Penguins still. Like, I don't know. Do you want reasons or?
I mean, it's just interesting because the Capitals have been like the best regular season team in the league over the past probably 3 seasons now. And the Penguins certainly haven't been bad in the regular season, but they've been, they're the reigning back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. So kind of tough to argue against them, but like I'm just not sold on their defense at all.
Oh, absolutely not. But you have Crosby and Malkin for the next 5 years. You have a Stanley Cup chance for the next 5 years. And, yeah, I don't know. I look at this defense, and I'm really not into it. I like Ole Mata and Chris Letang, but Justin Schultz is okay. Other than that, it's –
Ole Mata was, like, legit bad last year. So.
No, I know, but I think he's, he's still, 23 years old player. I think he's a serviceable NHL defenseman. I don't think he's going to win the Norris, but he's a serviceable player.
Right. But off that team, they also lost Hainsey. They lost Daly. So I honestly, like, even with some of the cap troubles, like, we'll cover the Capitals in a second, but I think I would still kind of side with the Caps, but, we'll see.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting given
I'm allergic. We were talking about. I'm allergic to rooting for teams that are good, so I won't be rooting for either of them because they're both good. But I can't do it.
I think it's tough. Like, if you're talking about just wanting to be a fan, I think it's tough to be a Capitals fan. Speaking as a as an on-again, off-again Capitals fan now that the Blue Jackets are in my life. But being a Capitals fan sucks because they're the favorite every year, and then all they can do is disappoint you. The Penguins are like this team that gets to slide in because the Capitals are going to be the best team in the league every year, and then when they win the cup, it's just like this miracle, and everyone feels so much happier about it. I mean, it's not actually a miracle, but like when you're expecting the Capitals to, Corsica gave them like a 98% chance to make the playoffs already, the highest of any team. Like, yeah, all you can do is disappoint a team, and then or disappoint a fan. So in terms of being a fan, it's just always the bummer to be a Capitals fan because you feel like you're bandwagoning because they're so good, but you never get anything out of it because they don't actually win anything.
That's going to be the title of this show. It's always a bummer to be a Capitals fan.
We hang our president's trophy on our windowsills, and that's all we do.
God, so upset. Just hate it. Hate the Penguins, but
do you really?
I mean, I don't, but like the Capitals were just so much fun, like the last 2 years, and now they don't have Nate Schmidt anymore. But anyways,
have you seen those?
Yeah, so Pittsburgh,
the Crosby Crybaby shirts. There's always a bunch of Blue Jackets fans wearing them when they play the Penguins at the games, but they're these shirts with a picture of like the Pittsburgh Penguin, and he's crying on the front of the shirt, and then on the back it says Crybaby 87 on it. They're so funny.
They got him good.
Yeah, he's skating in Warren. He's like, hey, who did that?
He'll wipe his tears with his cup rings and
yeah.
Hope you don't poke his eye out. Yeah.
All right. So yeah. Any key notes on any of these teams? First off, I have a question because I've been playing the new NHL video game, and on the Capitals, one of their strike defensemen is Christian. How you say his last name? DJOOS.
I think it's
Juice.
I think it's Juice. Yeah.
He was a 7.
Oh, we lost DJ again.
He got so angry.
But yes, Kristen. I mean, he's actually. I think he's one of their top prospects. I'm not going to profess to know how he profiles from a DFS standpoint, but him and Madison Bowie, I think, are going to step up to fill the roles vacated by Alsner and Nate Schmidt, who they lost in the expansion draft.
Yeah, I completely cut out there. I don't know where I was.
Yeah, you did. I covered Juice for you. Juice? I'm not sure.
Juice.
But I think Juice is safer from a politically correct standpoint.
Yeah, no, that's probably a little bit better.
But yeah, it seems to me like they're going to be splitting up Backstrom and Ovi. I've read that throughout the preseason.
It's Yost.
Faceoff has. Okay, cool.
It's Yost. I just saw that on Elite Prospects. Yost.
Nice. So, but yeah, so Ovechkin and Kuznetsov will be playing together, and as of right now, they have Jacob Vrana penciled into that first line right wing spot. That is the immediate smash play, maybe in the entire NHL, especially because it looks like we're going back to McDavid Draisaitl as a single line. So in terms of value, I mean, Jacob Vrana is one of the elite sniper prospects like in the NHL, and now seems like he's going to be thrown right into the fray. So I think it'll be tough to get, power play time because you're not really cracking that OV Kuznetsov. Well, actually, Kuznetsov is brand new to that unit with Johansson leaving. But anyways, so, I mean, the first unit's really set in stone, but if he's playing top 6 minutes in not, some 13 minutes that some, offensively minded players tend to play at 5-on-5, like if he's actually playing a legit top 6 role, Jacob Vrana is going to be like the top play in terms of DFS value to start the year.
Oh yeah,
I'm down for it. Is there anything else you want to bring up about the teams, or should I do my rankings?
I can.
Okay, you can go ahead, Doug.
I was just gonna say I was just reading a little bit about our friend Christian Jost, just to see what he was like. He's a defensive defenseman, passes the puck a lot. He had 45 assists in 66 games last season for Hershey. But they say he doesn't have a ton of offensive talent on his own.
So irrelevant DFS wise.
Yeah, I don't. You can't see his Corsi stats or anything for the AHL, but I wouldn't imagine he's much of a shooter.
But he has a really fun name.
Yeah, and his dad was an offensive defenseman in the NHL, Par Jost. Never heard of him, but that's what Prospect says.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna just take your word for it. Are you ready for my rankings now?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I
So-
don't think we're going to go too in depth on these teams because we really know who they are. We know who the superstars are, and so
Yeah, not a lot of big off-season moves either. Just Johansson.
they're going to be
the
good.
Devils and
So
yeah, they're
Hey,
good.
we signed
Right.
Burakovsky and we signed Kuznetsov.
Well, yeah, you re-signed.
Re-signed them. But that's important.
You know what? Yeah, if we did bring it up on a daily fantasy hockey podcast, we'd really not be doing our fans a good job.
Doug, what do you think of their contracts?
Actually, I'm more interested in getting Devontae Smith-Pelly.
That is true.
Okay,
All right.
He's
moving
been
on.
bounced around.
So my rankings are as followed: number 1, Pittsburgh Penguins; number 2, Columbus Blue Jackets; number 3, Washington
Wow.
Capitals.
Wow.
Bold.
Whoa.
I come out in fire. So all I'm going to say about this top 3 is I feel like it's going to be incredibly close and could go either way. But I'm really, really all in on the Blue Jackets this year.
Yo, what's your RotoGrinders username? Where can I follow your hot take?
Okay, I know. I think it's going to be really close. Okay, 4 Rangers, 5 Islanders, 6 Hurricanes, 7 Flyers, 8 Devils. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have. I mean, besides the obvious,
So
The-
why are the
Capital-
Capitals there?
Capitals 2, Columbus 3, and you'd be happy?
No, I think Capitals are the best team in the.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just me. You know,
I don't think the Blue
Penguins
Jackets
put
will
up
be in the top 3.
I mean, the Penguins really did face almost a worst case scenario in terms of injuries last year, and they still ended up with above 100 points and gave the, they weren't necessarily close to the Capitals, but they're within shouting distance. But I think the other, I've made the point that I think the Islanders are the most likely to make this division, and I think that of that dark horse favorite right now, and I personally think it's the Islanders. So I would head of the Rangers. But when you're going, I wouldn't bet against Lundqvist at this point either. So on that, or any other players that you wanted to touch on, I'm not sure what you had prepared for, Columbus, Carolina, New Jersey, the Islanders, and the Rangers, I think. Or you were here for the Rangers. So
Yeah.
any of the first 4.
No, not really. Since I had to talk to my parents, I didn't get a ton prepared in terms of, I don't know, hot takes or anything like that. I don't think the Blue Jackets are going to be very good, although I think they'll be fun to watch. But I don't know. I don't think they have enough talent to get second in the Metro. Like, there's just too many teams they have to play too many times that are going to be too good. But
Who's their head coach?
oh, well, actually, yeah, never mind. I'll put them first, Islanders second, Penguins, Rangers, and then Capitals.
Flyers,
Perfect.
Devils, Capitals.
Flyers,
That's more than likely.
Hurricane, Capital, Flyers, Devils, Dallas, Winnipeg, Colorado, Vancouver, and then the Capitals.
Capitals are going to fold mid-season when Washington gets struck by a nuclear missile.
Yeah.
Okay.
There will be no
The thing is,
Capitals at the end of the year.
There's 7 teams in this division that could make a claim for a playoff spot. Just for the
sure.
Devils, I think I was looking in. So, it's hard, but I don't know. I think Columbus, Capitals, Pens will all be really close in the top 3. And then one team, which is the Rangers, slipping in the 4th spot.
Yeah, it'll be
Getting a wild
interesting. It'll be interesting how the Blue Jackets, I don't think they have a ton of depth either. So if something bad happened to the Blue Jackets, I think that it would be hard for them to recover. They'll need another 10-game win streak or whatever, plus a healthy season to stay relevant.
Or just Officer Bobrovsky.
Yeah,
This is
but
true.
they have
Yeah,
Bobrovsky.
Bobrovsky can hold the whole game in his hand just like Lundqvist can at some point. So
Yeah.
yeah, and you've got
All
Coach of
right.
the Year, so morale
They do have
boosts
the
aren't
Coach of
going to
the
be
Year.
an issue. He made them. He
Yeah,
made them
they-
practice at 6 a.m. last year, every day.
Never do morning skirts.
Yeah, under the veil of darkness.
The early morning skate pod.
The super. All right. Anyways, though, yeah, I think does that pretty much wrap it up for us?
Yeah, we will be back tomorrow with the Atlantic Division, and
I do have
Pretty-
one. Oh, sorry. Were you still going?
I was just going to say the Atlantic Division is not as pretty as the Metro, so might be a bit less to say just because most of the teams are either boring or bad. So, um,
Yeah.
We'll try to keep it fantasy relevant.
Yeah. I'll try not to rant about a Drag Eagle for a whole hour. Maybe I'll try to limit it like 45 minutes. Okay, so two things. Number one is that we are bringing back the GroupMe for the season. So if you don't know what that is, essentially we have kind of a group text type thing we use through the app GroupMe that people that are kind of followers of the podcast all talk about daily fantasy sports, mainly hockey during the season. So I'll throw the plug for that. If you want to get in, tweet at us, direct message us on Twitter, etc., and we can get you in. And two, we are working on getting a guest for the podcast, and I'm not going to give anything away until it's confirmed and actually put into like a plan of action. And things like outside circumstances are getting in the way of it right now, but I'm going to give one hint that I said it because the group wanted to know who it was going to be, but I didn't want to give anything away, like I said. So my one hint is that the alma mater of our potential guest will be playing my current university, St. Bonaventure Bonnies. So that's the one hint. It's super vague.
in basketball?
In basketball this year. Yeah, in basketball.
Year.
Yeah.
Like this week.
season no. It's like during the season, those two schools will face off.
Wow, talk about a hint.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I said it was going to be vague because I don't want to give anything away because, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to.
And he could be the newest member of the Athletic.
Okay, well that's giving away a lot more.
Well, I mean, we don't even know if that's true or not.
Yeah,
We're just taking
that's
guesses
also
too,
we're
so.
wildly speculating. I mean, that's what sells. Columbus Blue Jackets Stanley Cup 2018, 2019, and
John Tortorella,
That's all I
Coach of the Year, back to back.
could be.
All right.
So when Columbus goes on a 19,000 game win streak this year, be sure to leave us a review on iTunes, or just give us an angry tweet at Morningscape Pod. As long as you follow us, we'll take the heat. So that's about all we have. We'll talk to you again tomorrow morning. From DJ, from Doug, and from myself. Have a good season, everyone, and we will see ya.